Okay, so this is this time of the night. This is usually the middle of the night, and right now I'm working on the system, and I can see how this camera thing's going to work very nicely for this process because there's a whole bunch more process that comes out of this. What I'm see this the Arduino, which is here. Let's see, where's it at? Here we go. So the Arduino is going to be here like this. You see. I figured I didn't want to destroy the ability of the hand to like. I mean, I've already still got to put wires in it and all of that stuff, and this will be much more ornate. I'm seeing. I just needed something that was going to give me the impression. What's interesting is the process is more iterative. You know, like this piece here. This piece, I made this just a short while ago, and then made this other piece that goes on it, right? But I saw that I need to be able to put the Arduino here. So, and I also need for this to kind of pull backwards so that when I flex my hand like that, that it's going to be, that it's going to flex, it's going to flex in a way that pushes on the thumb right there. See, that is going to push right into there, and so I needed that to work. So there'll be a thing here and here. The Arduino will be here, multiple pieces. So as this torsioning thing that happens with the arm happens, it's not one big bulky piece that's kind of buckling, you know, which is so, you know, tacky. You know, it has to kind of, this part moves, this part moves. They're a little bit independent. The Arduino's in the middle. They're straps that hold it on a little bit, and so it's, you know, it's got a very purpose-built kind of a energy about it. You see, across here, these are membranes. I realized this after I made it, that this pushes down directly onto the knuckle. You see? Then it pushes directly down, and it's right underneath the knuckle. So since there's nothing in here stopping the hand from buckling, you see? It's like it can fold up. Everything can fold. So that's a whole range of sensitivity. But with the last one, when I would move my fingers like this part would shift side to side, and and that's how the last version was too. You know, this one. You see, when my fingers would move from side to side, I'm hitting the sensor at a different place, and yeah, that's okay, kind of, sort of, but I'm not getting a repeatableness. You know, and the sensors are way simpler. You know, it's like, you see that sensor? You see that? That's a 3D printed little black disc like that, right? So that's what's in there as a sensor, with the cathode on the bottom and the pin on the top, and then the anode touches it like that, and that's where this amount here, this is what's causing resistance. So this allows for a variable amount of electricity to go into the process. It took me 2 years to figure that shit out. But with this one, you see, that's a completely other design. You see, can you see that? You see, that goes from the center all the way out. Let me see if I can put it somewhere where you can see it properly. There we go. See, that goes all the way. Okay, there we go. That goes in a spiral. So the resistance, instead of traveling across a flat surface and finding the fastest route to for the current to travel on, it has to travel around this spiral. So that's about that long, and the conductive filament that the conductive material this is printed with likes to it adds resistance with length. So this, well, actually it's more like this. Wait just a second. So there's this on the bottom, and then that is on the top, but it's a little bit rounded. So when that anode hits, so the pin is in the middle, the cathode is on the end there, and then when that pin touches there, there's a certain amount of range that it has now. So this membrane system allows for a way different feel. It's so much more. I mean, I've just spent the last couple of days just wearing it, which is also a very strange thing. Most of every one that I've ever made, I could only really wear it for a short while before it, you know, makes my hand hurt or it's just pointless or something like that. I can eat, I can type, I can use tools, but at the same time, the sensitivity is amazing. And then up here, it's a small version at the tip. See, look at this, watch this, blam, straight down, it locks right there. So I'm not crushing the shit out of this. And it's the same mechanism I just described. Let me see if I can put it over here in the light. See, it's the same mechanism. There's a disc, there's a conductive disc on the bottom, and then there's one of those spiral ones in the top. And you can see that there, see? So all of those click together. And then all of these are more fluid. So there's a completely other kind of hand syntax that's possible now. I've literally just been feeling the feeling before I go I mean, I've already designed a sound, and that'll be a whole other set of videos. But there's a fluidity. One thing that's really interesting as a metaphor or as a contextualization is that it feels. I've been into this idea of polarities, right? And with one of the most one of the ones that we and the spectrum in between polarities, and so with one of them that I've been especially that I've meditated on a lot over the last couple of years is that of the masculine and the feminine. And one of my mushroom trips told me that the masculine was constructive and the feminine was instructive, right? And that's just something I've meditated on. It's not whether or not it's true. I don't care whether it's true. It's interesting to meditate on as a model, right? And it has not failed me in being able to abstract that sonically since it came to me. But with this, what's interesting is that it feels like the lower the lower knuckles here, that this is the feminine. There's range, there's depth, there's a lot of things that can be expressed there. But then this, the upper end, this is constructive. That there's although it seems like there's not the same amount of range, there is the sequencing of action that comes across there much more so very deliberately, so together these two kind of, one can't exist without the other. If I leave one row or the other off, it is a completely different system. With both of them together, the types of sonic syntax that are possible, it just blows my mind. When I imagine these things, I imagine them before I make them. I have to. That's the way I'm able to make my code. So I spend a significant amount of time just in playland, just moving my hands and letting it, you see, like every bit of this is completely emotive. And the feeling is that my hand is inside of a membrane that just moving my fingers changes things. Not gross movements, not like, like playing saxophone like I used to, or the model that I thought I was going for, but this very subtle, all of that is a possibility vector, So I'm here, it's the middle of the night, and I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but I'm going to post it. I'm going to try and, now that I have this toy to play with, and it's so much easier to make these videos with this thing on my face, because now I don't have to like hold this thing in my hand, because before I'd have to hold it or I'd have to sit it on my lap or some other crazy shit. This is so much better. I'm going to try and make more of these so that, we can, so that as the process unfolds, there is this kind of dialogue with the process. That's what I like to think of it as, is a dialogue with the process itself. All right? So, cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.